Hello everybody, the Destroyer here. Today I'm bringing you a cast of Rise of the Witch King, patch 2.02, version 4.0. And we have a 3v3 on Old Brown Lands today, which is a map I rarely play. I don't see anyone playing it, but it's actually a pretty cool map, gotta say. It's very, on the map, like the actual map, it looks very snaky. But in actuality, it's not too bad. So, let's take a look at the teams here. We've got Destroyer, which is me as Isengard, my teammate Raango as Isengard, and my other teammate is vic-chan with his shiny Gondor fortress, or Men of the West, I should say. The other team, we have SimPC as Dwarves. His teammate, Dwarves, as well, is Striker, and last but not least, their last teammate is Nordmannen as the elves. So, 2 Dwarves and an elf versus 2 Isens and a Men of the West. So, kind of a interesting matchup there. Looks like I'm opening with 3 furnaces there. As you might imagine, it's a pretty far walk from here to here. So really you can start off a little bit more economically if you want. And it looks like there's furnaces going up here. And Raango is going with a warg pit. And looks like vic-chan is going with barracks. Pretty standard stuff. And I'm going with more farms. Just going very heavy on the economy. Not always the best idea, as you might imagine, as you can be swarmed pretty quickly, and if you don't have any defense, then you could be in trouble. We have a green pasture being thrown up from Nordmannen. Dwarves obviously going with the Hall of Warriors, some Guardians. Looks like we have some scouting Creebane here. Both my partner and I are scouting with our Creebane, which really is kind of redundant, but whatever. Dwarves. These dwarves actually going for... Oh, never mind. They do have a Hall of Warriors. I'm just completely blind. And he will begin putting things in it with his phalanxes. Makes it a very forward mine here. So the dwarves pushing forward all the way across the map, putting a mine right there, right outside of Raango's base. And looks like he will be attempting to put another one over here. Slightly closer to vic-chan's base, but still pretty close to Raango's base here. So he'll be attacking Raango, I'd imagine, from that. And you see, he's already brought out some Guardians. Actually, looks like Raango built a little too close to the Goblin Cave there. It happens. I do that all the time myself. Especially in a map like this where I actually don't know where they are. It's very easy to do that. We have a beacon being thrown on here. As SimPC shows there's Guardians over here. SimPC is over here, though. Is he the middle dwarf? Yeah, no, he's the bottom dwarf, right? Yeah. So the bottom dwarf showing that that is a good place to go. Looks like that's where the Lancers are heading as well. Although we have some Warg Riders from Raango to try and deal with these guys. And looks like he will lose his furnace, which is unfortunate. So he's beginning to get attacked. So what do I have? I have a clan setting with some wildmen. And that is it. So I can't really help with cavalry at the moment. I would be completely useless. My wildmen would be trampled immediately. But Warg Riders are better than Rivendell Lancers, it seems. And the Rivendell Lancers were rally called. Were ours? Probably not. Because we have 2 Creebanes. Unless vic-chan used rally call, which he did not. Then he didn't have a war chant. But he does have the howl. That's what he used. And that's why they're glowing. And it looks like Raango kind of missing the mineshaft here. Probably for the best, because it was full of phalanxes and guardians. Could be a problem. And he really needs to get rid of these forward mines, or we're going to have an issue on this side of the map. Looks like I'm pushing forward with a few guys there. I do have some pikes to help my partner out, probably, or just protect myself. Let's go south. We have some Gondor soldiers. Slightly being chased off by some guardians here. Gondor soldiers are very strong. Looks like these are war chanted as well, or rally called, I should say. You probably should put them in shield wall formation, though. I would recommend that. Just keeping these ones aggressive, though, because they're doing the back damage. Probably a good idea. I'd say that's a good tactic. The ones being attacked in the front probably should be in defensive with the shield wall. That's fine. I'm not going to nitpick, because I may have done the same thing, because I'm not always the best at doing things. But I'm not saying he is either. Right. Anyway, we have a cavalry coming in here. I do have my pikes down here to help my partner out. It looks like we're trying desperately to get rid of these forward mines. I do have wildmen with torches, which are great against structures. Looks like the dwarf, though, managed to get a Prince Brand out here. So Striker will begin leveling him up nicely with the elves' help. Nordmannen. And definitely need more pikes. Although he did make some swords. Probably not the best choice, but swords are better against phalanxes. So it does make sense. I definitely need to help my ally out here, as we are in a bit of a pickle. Just trying to get rid of this statue. And then we'll have to get rid of this mine shaft as well. Once we cut off the reinforcements from the dwarves, it would take an eternity to get across the map, so we wouldn't have too much to worry about. Let's go over here real quick, see what's happening. Tons of Gondor soldiers moving across. Actually, those are Gondor archers and soldiers. They look similar from far away. But dwarves going in over around the south. So they'll probably be attacking each other's base. Looks like there's dwarves here as well. They could potentially deal with these Gondor soldiers. And have we fended off the attack? It looks like we have, as I've flooded my allies' base with units. Lots of wildmen, lots of crossbows. And we'll begin pushing back, getting the dwarves out of our base. We do need to take out this forward mine, though. It's pretty crucial. It doesn't look like he's actually been macroing enough, and he won't have any troops left to defend except for those one phalanx group. And I have far more than that, so that mine shaft will go down quite easily. Oh, he does have 2 guardians. I take that back. And let's see what's going on over here. Looks like Gondor is actually winning the fight here. I saw some Gondor knights coming in to help. And this mine shaft will be taken out. Also building a forward statue to buff his troops. Good call. It's always a nice thing to do. And he'll begin pushing forward on the dwarfs in PC quite hard. And me and my ally, actually no, just me, I'll be pushing forward on the elves here. As you see, he will lose a builder here, which is a good pickup for me. And he will lose all these Lorien archers as well as these Niflheim sentries. I'm starting to get a little steam here as Isengard. Let's take a look at powers and stuff like that. There's actually some dwarves over here. So, Sim PC, the dwarves have a rally call, only 6 power points, and he does have a 510 command points limit. Vic-chan, the men, 545. Looks like he just got a Theoden as well, which is nice. And he has 5 and 5. 5-point power and a 5 powers remaining. I have Crewbane and 5 powers remaining, so I could possibly get War Chant if I want. Dwarves are pushing out quite heavily here, trying to get the men out of his base. I'm pushing forward on the elves here. So let's continue on with the powers. We got heal and rally call from Striker the dwarf. Raango Isengard has 6 power points and Crewbane 400. And Nordmannen the elf has 5. He uses his rally call and he's 425. So he is looking to be in a bit of trouble here. Because I do have wildmen, I do have pikes, I do have crossbows. And I do have the Crewbane up as well. And I did get War Chant, as you see my guys are War Chanted here. I'll begin taking out a lot of his structures. And that is bad news for him. How is the battle down here going? It looks like they're about even, really. And it looks like the dwarves are actually attacking my partner Raango here. He hasn't lost too much, though, as far as I can tell. Do the dwarves have a forward mine down here? No, he just took the long way around or something, as those phalanxes are coming up from the south. And he is going to get this builder as well. Let's go back over here. How am I doing? We have a Glorfindel out, trying to stop me from destroying his fortress. I am doing a pretty good job here. And Prince Brand is actually killing off all my crossbows, which is not ideal for me. And Hobbits being summoned in to finish off my guys here. Probably wasn't necessary, but it reassures that they won't lose. And I do have alerts who has actually get level 2. Managed to take out that goblin cave. Let's go over here real quick. They're just trying to stop these dwarves from picking off his structures. Looks like there's no forward mines in his base, at least. And now the dwarf, it's in PC, right? Yeah, we'll begin pushing down on vic-chan, the Men of the West player. Although the Men of the West having a Thillian Ranger is going to make a huge difference. My Wildmen being summoned down on the archer line here. We'll begin slaughtering these axe throwers with no mercy. And that will help crush that attack pretty hard. And that'll be shut down. And then the men can regroup or push forward or whatever he chooses to do. So the elves are starting to rebuild here. He did not get knocked out of the game, thankfully, for him and his partners, as his partner did manage to save him there. Although the Glorfindel was doing a pretty good job at killing the units. If I was able to keep the pressure up, I probably would have got him, but my macro is not very strong. I'm not going to lie. I have a tendency not to build troops while I'm fighting, and that is probably my biggest weakness, other than being a total scrub. But you know how it is. Ooh, we got Warg Riders. They're using Howl, and they could potentially take out Prince Brand if he's not careful. He's actually taking flanking damage, I think, isn't he? Because he's facing the other way. But we do have phalanxes all around. I think he'll be just fine. Although I do have Lurts. Although he does need to be careful because he's not invincible. Lone Tower, huh? Lone Tower was purchased by the dwarves. Hobbit's being purchased by the other dwarf, actually. We saw those used earlier. Even though Lancers coming through, I do lose my Lurts there. Pretty big bummer. I don't know why you get Lone Tower. It's not very good. I'm honest, it doesn't do anything other than just be a tower, right? Oh, it provides leadership bonus and healing as a fort. Banners and siege. I was not aware of that. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, Lone Tower's actually not so useless as I thought. That's cool. So you can summon a tower healing well thing. Apparently it's a patch 2.02 thing, because I'm pretty sure that's not a normal thing. I just assumed it was crap. Because it always was. Dwarves losing a builder there. We'll also lose his forward mine in the middle. And yeah, the army of the men is starting to pick up a little steam there. It's a lot of archers, and if the dwarves don't get any battle wagons to deal with those, they're not going to be able to deal with those, as those archers are quite strong. And things are shifting from us being attacked and being on the defensive to the other team being quite defensive. Although they are trying to push. The white dwarf is still trying to push forward. He does still have a decent army. He has Men of Dale, and he has Prince Brand. Looks like I got a good run through on some archers there, although I will lose a lot of Warg Riders to these phalanxes and Prince Brand. And now we begin the battle over there. The dwarves and elves are regrouping up north. He does have Mirkwood archers now. Does he have Silverthorns? No. But he does have more Rivendell Lancers, which is always useful. Unless you're fighting an army of pikes. There is a battle wagon here. Getting a good oil cask launch off on these these archers here. And they will begin setting them ablaze. Doesn't need to move them. And he actually doesn't have any pikes, so the Men of the West could be in trouble here. Although managing to lose his battle wagon to some Rohirrim. Rohirrim doing a great job there. And some Gondor Knights as well. Let's battle over here. Let's go back over here. Looks like me and the Black Isengard player Raango are pushing forward against the dwarfs and the elves of the other team. It's a pretty big battle. Lots of crossbows, lots of pikes, lots of wildmen. And it looks like we're getting the better of the exchange, but not for long, as there's an army coming through here of cavalry. Take out most of our crossbows. It's knocking most of them down to low life. Killing majority of mine, at least. And there is a Glorfindel here as well. And the battle immediately switches to the opponent's, or the opposing left team's favor, as those cavalry just immediately turn the tide of battle. It's like Lurtz actually crippled Glorfindel, but he needs to get out of there. Am I going to sacrifice my Lurtz once again? Probably, as he does get well, you can't use Beast Slayer on Lurtz, can you? I don't think so. But nonetheless, that was not a good attack for us, and things are looking bad on our side. But the men of the West are actually doing pretty good. So vic-chan making ground over on the bottom against the blue dwarf sim PC. And we'll see. Oh, long shot. Possibly arrow volley. Probably long shot. Yep. Long shot going down, killing a few of them, wounding most of them. And they'll be easily picked off by the archers and swordsmen here. And they'll begin pushing forward. Looks like I'm rebuilding my army. I do have upgrades. I have armor and weapons upgrades, which is pretty nice. Fully upgraded Isengard armies are pretty strong. You see I'm equipping the armor. I always equip the armor first, usually. As it just means they last longer. Do these arrows and stuff. And war chant going down on my units as well. Theirs as well. They do their rally call. There's lots of Mirkwoods. These Mirkwoods need to die. So doing so much damage. If we don't deal with the Mirkwoods, then we're going to be in trouble. Elven Wood being thrown down on top of the armies. So they will have the buffed land to stand on. Glorfindel needs to be a bit careful. He does have 100% damage in armor with Blade of Purity, but he's not invincible. So he will need to be a slightly bit careful. You have a Worm Tongue from Raango, Isengard, the Black Isengard player. He also has Lurtz. It looks like Prince Brand is chasing down Lurtz there. I keep wanting to call him Prince Bard, but Bard the Bowman is not Prince Brand, as far as I'm aware. They are both from Dale, so... No, actually no they're not. I take that back. One's from Lake Town. One is from Dale. Which no longer exists in that storyline or whatever. Yeah, it looks like I am pushed back by all these Mirkwoods, and Glorfindel potentially in a bit of trouble. But I can put out an army pretty quickly, as you see here. I'm putting up a ton of these Urk pits. My economy is probably booming right now. vic-chan getting summon Rohan allies. I do have Wildmen to summon. That will be excellent if I can summon that down on the archer line. Looks like I'm doing just that. Men of the West are pushing forward. And yes, the archer line has been swarmed with Wildmen, as well as Warg Riders. And that will prove quite nice. And Men of the West doing a great job down south. We got Dwarven Riches from the Dwarves Striker. Looks like Raango has Wildman as well. We do have Trebuchets though from Sim PC. That'll be pretty bad for the dwarf from the bottom. Potentially lose his fort if you can't stop him. Let's go back up here. Looks like we're trying to hold the line pretty desperately. Looks like I managed to kill off Prince Brand there, but I did sacrifice my Lurtz in the process. I think it's worth it in my opinion. We do have a Legolas from the elves. Legolas will be pretty useful. And it looks like the elves will hold the line. I did use Tainted Land to cover that spot with a Tainted Land instead of a Elven Wood. As obviously you don't want the enemy standing on Elven Wood, you'd prefer them standing on your Tainted Land. Some dwarves coming in from the flank, trying to get rid of these trebuchets. Good job splitting them all up though, not keeping them together. And he's trying desperately to save them. The Men of the West do have a stronger army up here, but he does need to keep the reinforcements coming, as he is doing. As you see, they're coming across the map quite nicely. So Isengard guys and other tower guards there. And Wormtongue using his stealth escape to get out of the combat right in the nick of time. Looks like he's about to die. Very close. And now he's going to begin losing a bunch of archers to these blasted Mirkwoods. And it looks like we're in a bit of trouble now. Me and the other Isengard player are going to have to band together to fight off the elves and dwarves here, or else we will fall. But the Men of the West doing a great job pushing forward on his side. So things are pretty even at the moment, it seems like, if you think about it. Because one team is doing great against one team, and the other two teams are doing, well, I guess things are more in their favor if you think about it. Because they're doing better against us. As we don't have a great army to counter these attacks coming in. I do have a Saruman though. Saruman's a great army, right? Army of one. And a Wizard Blast going down, killing lots of Men of Dale there. Giving him Fireball ability, immediately casting that on some Mirkwoods. I will need to get him out of there. Saruman also from Raango. 2 Sarumans to contend with. Say goodbye to your armies. As 2 Sarumans is definitely better than 1 Saruman. And very powerful. And vic-chan actually throwing down a forward siege works. Also having a well and statues here. Looks like the White Dwarf coming in from the behind, from the rear, to try and clear up this forward base. And will he manage to? Is he going to actually be able to stop these 3 trebuchets from destroying the base? Only time will tell. I do love the blue glow effect that mine shafts get when you get Dwarven Riches in 2.02. 2.02. God, I'm losing the ability to make words. Alright, time for a silent cast. No, but seriously. I do have a fully upgraded army here. I don't know where my language filter went. It's gone. Watcher being thrown down under an army here. Completely destroying it. That was my Watcher. And it looks like the Dwarves will actually be able to fend off that attack. Or at least the forward base. He isn't defending his base. Some PC throwing down a beacon, showing he's in trouble. As there's just 3 trebuchets wailing on his fort. And I think the dwarves down here are going to lose their fortress. Unless these dwarves over from White actually pay attention and go destroy this army. Which I don't think is going to happen. Looks like I'm starting to push forward as well. Managing to chase off the Elven Heroes and the Mirkwoods with my fully upgraded army of Eisen. Which is finally coming into its own. And yeah, I don't think... Do they have a rebuild? Yes, they do. They throw down 1 rebuild. Do they have a 2nd rebuild? It looks like Striker actually has a rebuild ready. I think it's ready. Let's take a look at the other powers real quick, though. At least Striker is aware that there's an army here. King Dane is actually taking care of these pretty nicely. Oh, and vic-chan has the Army of the Dead already. And there goes the Dwarves army. So King Dane will be killed here, I believe. No, King Dane actually not being targeted. That could be a mistake, as these aren't very good against structures. He could have easily killed King Dane, which is a costly loss. So that is unfortunate. I think he made a mistake sending those in. But, not the end of the world, I would imagine. Looks like I'm trying another attack on Elves, finally managing to get to their base again. Elves almost having a 15 power, it looks like. He has 20, he could buy a 15 power. He still has to buy one, because he only has a 10. So potentially he'll get one of those. What do I have? I have 16 power points. Getting quite a bit. And I'm starting to make a lot of ground here. Summoning the Wildmen on top of the archer line again. Also trampling the archer line. You gotta keep the Mirkwoods out of the equation. And that'll keep your troops alive. It looks like my fully upgraded armies, as long as I can keep them coming, which looks like I am actually doing. I also taking buildings on the way here. Elves are being overrun. I don't know if I still have Saruman, but I don't see him anywhere. I do have Lurtz at least. And Lurtz does have leadership, he's level 7. Should probably move these Creebane over here. Oh, they expire anyway. No big deal. Looks like we got Wildmen from Raango over here as well. My Wildmen being summoned down. Those were actually Rango's Wildmen being summoned on the archer line there. And Rango's pushing forward, destroying this forward base. And things are immediately starting to look very bad for the left team. Tom Bombadil trying desperately to save the base. Haldir coming out. Will he be enough? I don't think so. I don't think they have enough rebuilds. Rebuild is on cooldown. And barrage coming down from Striker to take out my army. Which actually might have been a mistake, as it left the fortress at almost no health. It does do friendly fire. But he did actually kill my army, so I don't have enough to take it out. Will this Berserker go balls to the wall, take out the fort? I don't think so. So he's auto-killed immediately. Ah. So, Dwarven Fortress, or the Elven Fortress being left with nothing. The beacon's still here, I should probably delete that. But I can't delete it, obviously, in a replay of someone else. If I could actually get a Berserker on the fort, it might be enough. But keeping on a Mirkwoods is pretty good too, as they will do a good amount of damage. Probably should have kept it on the Mirkwoods, not the Haldir. But it's fine, I am regrouping. Hopefully I don't run through a giant thing of fire. Looks like I noticed, thank goodness. Would have been so embarrassing. The Men of the West has a huge army over here. Vic-chan could potentially push forward and take out the Dwarves once and for all. But he probably will need some siege weapons, which he has seemed to have lost. And look at all these battering rams from Raango. A double attack from Isengard. Him building the siege weapons, me building the defense. And this Dwarven fortress is going to go down fast. That's a lot of battering rams. Battering rams are tough. And he does have some troops of his own as well as Saruman and Lurtz. So we definitely have the army to keep this alive. And things are desperate for the dwarf striker here. While things were looking really bad for the elves, the dwarves looking much, much worse. There's just so much here. Saruman actually using his speechcraft to level up all our units, which is pretty nice. As they will have more armor and damage, or whatever, life and damage. Men of the West pushing forward as well. Look at the fortress take damage here. Look at all these battering rams finally getting in the fort. That's the second rebuild. And they just take so much damage off the fortress. Never underestimate battering rams. If you see one coming for your base, you better take care of it. Or you're going to regret it very quickly. It looks like the Men of the West do have the power to actually stop the dwarves now. And this game will be over shortly, I feel. As Striker is about to be knocked out of the game. Is that his last structure? Right here. Possibly. Yep, Striker's taken out of the game. And I'm sure the other teams will follow. As the elves will probably quit out very shortly. Or maybe the other dwarf who is about to die as well. SimPC has been defeated, which was the bottom left dwarf. So now Nordmannen has control, and he has left the game as well. So, that is the end. The right team, my team, is victorious. Vic-chan, Raango, and Destroyer. So, well played to everyone in that match. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed playing that game quite a bit. I love me 3v3. Especially when it goes in my favor. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And we'll see you in the next cast of The Rise of the Witch King, patch 2.02. See you next time.